Race number 3 of the day here for the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup is about to get underway, and this is the reversed grid race, always guaranteed excitement. Patrick Fletcher is on pole position. Now we're going to have a word with Patrick. Pat, this is your first season of racing in the MX-5 SuperCup, second meeting, and you're on pole position, albeit because of the reversed grid, but that adds a bit of pressure to this one, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's always a little bit of pressure. I felt a little bit of pressure this morning in qualifying as well. So to be honest, I am feeling pressure, but no more than this morning in qualifying.
You've gone well here in the past though, haven't you, in Clios that you've raced in before. This is rather a different beast though, isn't it? How have you found the transition?
It's a total mind bubble at the moment. Really trying to get my head around rear wheel drive. But so far so good, and I'm feeling happy with the car at the moment, so see what we can do in this one.
You're starting at the front, I'm sure you want to stay there. What's the realistic goal?
So the last few races I've actually had really bad starts. So really I'd like a equilibrium start, try and maintain top 2 would be ideal, but we'll have to see what happens.
No problem. Well, best of luck, Patrick, then, for this third and final race of the weekend. Well, second place alongside Patrick on the front row is going to be Bradley Kent. And Bradley, this is a real opportunity, isn't it? You don't mind getting stuck in, and now you're on the front row.
Yeah, we've got a good opportunity. We finished 6th in the last one, so, and obviously it's a reverse grid from the, I think it's top 7?
Yeah, I think so.
Eight.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we've got a good chance, but I mean, there's a few quick boys behind us. We've been struggling with power all weekend, so we're not as fast as them in a straight line, so we'll just see what we can do, really.
The good news is there are lots of corners here, though.
Exactly. There's a lot of twisty corners as well, so find a bit of grip and hopefully we'll keep with them, but yeah, just get stuck in, hopefully.
You've not had a podium before. I'm sure I don't need to remind you of that. This is one of your best chances to do it. What do you reckon?
I'll give it a good go. Yeah, I'll give it a good go.
Sounds exciting. Well, we're looking forward to seeing how he, Patrick and the rest of the field get on as well. Will Stevenson third, he's one to watch, and so too Will Stacey from 4th on the grid. It's going to be a good one. Well, races 1 and 2 were very good. I've no doubt race 3 will be exactly the same. Patrick Fletcher and Bradley Kent then share row 1. The 2 Wills are next. Stevenson ahead of Stacey on row 2. Then the top 3 from race 2 in reverse order. Jack Harding, Luke Herbert, and the race 2 winner Aidan Hills is 7th ahead of Nick Rutter. Then Gary Townsend and David Henderson, Chris Richardson and Steve Roberts from 12th is a fascinating prospect ahead of Jack Sycamore and George Grant. Now the first lap of this race will be the 1,550th lap of racing in the MX-5 SuperCup history. It will also see the completion of the 3,000th mile of racing, remarkably, since the start of 2013. Who will lead the 3,000th mile? Who will win round number 6 of the championship? Let's find out. Away we go. The lights are out there, rushing towards Old Hall Corner, and Patrick Fletcher's made a decent start from the front row of the grid. Keep an eye on the blue car, though. The second of the blue cars on the outside line there is Luke Herbert, and Jack Harding's got up the inside. There's a few on the grass. Oh, sideways. Who's that getting sideways? Is that Will Stacey? No, it's I'll identify it in a moment. It looked worryingly like it might have been Aidan Hills, possibly. Fletcher's in the lead, but he locks up and goes straight on, and Bradley Kent goes into the race lead. Brilliant opening exchanges here in this second race of the day. It is Bradley Kent with the advantage, but Will Stacey is on the attack already. Dives to the inside, down towards Island Bend, and he goes through. So Stacey leads the way. Kent is second. Jack Harding's made good progress as well. Kent's on the grass. Fletcher's on the grass as well. And they both follow each other into the weeds and will fall right to the tail of the field. That's a real shame for both of them. Bradley Kent from the race lead, unfortunately, off the road, and Patrick Fletcher goes off in sympathy. They're 2 quick drivers, though, and they should be able to work their way up the order. So Will Stacey leads the way now. Harding second, Herbert third, Will Stevenson is 4th. There is no sign of Aidan Hills. There he is. He's down in about 8th or 9th place as Jack Harding goes for the race lead. I have never seen an overtake for the race lead there. He just got such superior traction off the Britain chicane, and Jack Harding already, having started the race down in 5th, leads at the Hislop chicane for the first time. Herbert goes second, Stevenson third, Stacey gets elbowed out wide, and Steve Roberts is 5th from 12th on the grid. He's picked his way through the chaos on the opening lap, and he's already right up the order. Now, this is Aidan Hills pulling alongside Nick Rutter. He is a lot further down the order than he should be, so I think it was Aidan that we saw getting spat out of the pack on the opening lap and ended up off the road and losing ground. He goes up the inside of David Henderson, so he's gaining ground back, but he can see the leaders already are a long way in front, and in a field as evenly matched as this, he can't afford to let them get too far away. Right now, though, the top 2 are more concerned concerned with battling each other than pulling a gap on the rest of the field. Harding defending the race lead, Herbert trying to tee up the better exit, but got a bit sideways. Will Stacey and Steve Roberts are dicing away for 4th position as the 1,550th lap and the 3,000th mile of racing is led by Jack Harding. And what a lap of racing that was, to go from 5th on the grid to lead by halfway around the lap. Will Stacey is sideways as Steve Roberts went up the inside of him. It's a really nice save by Stacey, but he loses more positions. Through goes Gary Townsend, through goes Aiden Hills, and several others as well. Jack Sycamore amongst those gaining ground. He unfortunately has just thrown away potentially a chance for a podium finish. Now Steve Roberts is off. What went on there? Steve Roberts just didn't slow down through Cascades. I don't know whether he outbraked himself or maybe if something's on the road, because we've seen a few people do that in this race, and he too now will possibly fall behind David Henderson, who'll be getting a nosebleed. He's so high up the order. This is a rare thing for David, but it's great to see him getting stuck in amongst some of the much more experienced drivers. He is, along with everyone else though, already losing ground to the leading two. Aiden Hills remarkably is back into 4th place already as a result in part of other people falling by the wayside. This gaggle of cars here then, including some quite quick drivers, including the AB Motorsport car there of Jack Sycamore, who's been a bit anonymous so far this weekend, has finished in 10th in race 1 and then didn't start race 2. He's out there in race 3 though, making good ground up. So, deep breath everybody, down the hill we go. Jack Harding leads the way, Luke Herbert is 2nd, Will Stevenson 3rd, Aiden Hills 4th and Gary Townsend there 5th. 6th is the white car Steve Roberts, and this is the fight for 7th place between David Henderson and Jack Sycamore that I just mentioned. And it's Nick Rutter, the orange machine, who's right behind them, and Henderson's a bit scrappy through the chicane. Sycamore gets alongside, but that's the outside line for Knickerbrook Corner. Try and get the run up the hill if he can, leading to out of Druids Corner, and Jack Harding in the race lead. Now there's a long way to go, but if he can win this race, he will take the record for the most victories in MX-5 SuperCup history. Remember, he came into this weekend tied on 15 victories, but he's only just hanging on to the race lead for now because Luke Herbert is trying to get alongside him. He couldn't quite get to the inside line down to Old Hall, so instead he goes to the outside, gets 2 wheels almost on the grass there. Watch for the exit speed though. He carries more speed through the corner, tries to pull alongside Jack Harding, but it's only ever going to be the outside line down towards Cascades. Well, Stevenson is still 3rd, but for how much longer I wonder, because Aiden Hills is right with him, side by side for the race lead. Luke Herbert is briefly in front, but on the outside at Cascades he's never going to be able to make it stick. What about the exit though? Can he maybe again get the over-under and carry more speed down the straight? On board with Aiden Hills, and look how much closer he is to the leading two already than he was a lap or so ago. He is making great ground up through the order. They're side by side in front of us for the race lead though, and Luke Herbert's going to go through. Is he on the inside line at Island Bend? Yes, Luke Herbert goes back into the race lead. He wants to become the first 3-time winner of 2019. Both he and this man Aiden Hills have 2 wins apiece so far, and it's Luke Herbert that has just snatched the lead away. Jack Harding though, I'm sure is not going to let him escape in 2nd place, whilst Will Stevenson is not going to roll over either and let Aiden Hills through into a podium position without a fight. Will Stevenson has never had a podium finish in the MX-5 SuperCup. Aiden Hills has had several, and he knows that this is a really important move to make, not only because it will get him back onto the podium positions, but because it will allow him to challenge the leading two, who are side by side again. And Jack Harding's going to go back through, is he? Phenomenal move round the outside of the first part of Hislop's. He gets the inside for the left-hander and moves back into the lead of the race, whilst Aiden Hill, I think, has made a similar move on Will Stevenson to go 3rd. He's waving furiously at Stevenson, saying, don't fight back, let's work together, chase down the leading two, and then we've both got a chance of getting a race victory out of this. The leaders, meanwhile, are side by side for the 3rd time in half a lap as Luke Herbert tries to go around the outside at Druids. That won't work though. Again though, it's the exit speed that he's really focusing on, but he'll be getting very frustrated now because he can see Aiden Hills is closing in. I'm not sure whether Luke will be aware that Aiden has been off the road at the start of this race, but if he is, he'll be looking back at Aiden Hills and thinking, how on earth are you there? You were off the road at the first corner, and now look at it, he's right with the leading two, and Will Stevenson very much going with them in 4th place as well. Herbert to the inside, Herbert to the outside, still can't manage to find a way past Jack Harding. They flick it through Old Hall Corner, out onto the avenue. Harding a bit wide, Stevenson a bit wide in 4th place as well. Everyone else is trying to be 5th by the looks of it too. I think Steve Roberts has managed to find a way past Gary Townsend for the time being, and will now be trying to catch the leading group as well. We've been treated already to 2 phenomenal races here at Oulton Park, and the reverse grid races, well, very often we see the driver who gets through the pack the quickest tends to be able to run away with it. We saw that from Jack Harding at Snetterton last time out. He made better progress on the opening lap and was able to pull away. On this occasion though, Herbert came with him, and when they set to it, that's allowed Harding to close in, Hills to close in as well in 3rd position. Out of the Shell hairpin once again. towards Britons, the left-right left flick before they crest the hill at Hilltop and head down into the braking zone at Hislops, which is a difficult place to execute an overtake, but we've seen a few people do it in this race, let alone earlier on this weekend, including Jack Harding. That was one of the moves of the season, to go around the outside of Luke Herbert. You don't go around the outside of Luke Herbert that often to gain any position, let alone the race lead, into a place like Hislops, but that's exactly what Harding did, and he's now actually starting to break away slightly then in the hunt for this 16th career victory. The man that he's tied with is someone who himself has a real affinity with AK Automotive, Alan Henderson himself, former champion. They are the two tied for the most victories in MX-5 SuperCup history, but Luke Herbert, the man we're looking at here just in front of us, he's only one win further back as well, so we could leave Oulton Park with a three-way tie. Right now though, Jack Harding is hoping that's not the case, because he's trying to scoot away at the front of the field. We've seen it's difficult to escape, but if the cars behind start to trip over each other, sometimes that can work into your advantage. Remember that the two cars behind him are teammates, and they do work together when they can. They'll fight hard for victories and for podium positions at the end of the race, but if it's in their best interests not to race for a few laps and to work together to catch up to somebody, they do seem to have this orchestration down pretty well, and it doesn't look to me from the body language of Aidan Hill's car like he is actively trying to find a way past Luke Herbert for the time being. I think they are working together to try and latch back onto the tail of the race leader. There is Gary Townsend running in 5th position. Remember, he had that 10-second jump start penalty in the previous race. Well, he has had no such penalty on this occasion, and he's running strongly. Gary's best finish so far this year has been a pair of 7th places as well. He's not yet had a top 5, but he's on course for one at the moment. Leading trio then through Island Bend once again. There'd be some nice symmetry to this, I suppose, if Jack Harding could get the victory, because then each of these three would have 2 wins apiece, one from each of the first 2 meetings of the year. But certainly Luke Herbert and Aidan Hills will not be a fan of that symmetry. They'll be wanting to try and snatch this victory away from Jack Harding. We've also heard, haven't we, Jack saying that his car seems to overheat a bit when it's back in the pack. Well, this is really the first time that we've seen him at the front of the queue for any length of time. So is that maybe helping the car? If it is, any advantage he gets from an engine that's working at 100% performance is probably being lost by the fact that he is the man punching a hole in the air for everyone else to draft him. So he's probably not going to be able to escape here unless the two behind start to really trip over each other, which for the time being does not appear to be happening. Over Clay Hill towards the Druids right-hander, and Jack Harding having to defend. Now Druids is not a corner you want to have to defend at, but he's had to move over to the inside of the road. Again, that will cost him speed off the exit, and Luke Herbert may be able to get up the inside at Lodge Corner. Not on your life, says Jack Harding. He moves immediately over to defend, and again, the man at the back of the queue, Aidan Hills, has free rein. He can use whatever line he wants, so he chooses to try and go around the outside of Luke Herbert. Does Luke leave him room on the exit? Almost. 2 wheels in the dirt, but Aidan Hills keeps coming. He's got his nose in front. He will officially be timed as 2nd place across the start-finish line. Can he close the door on Luke Herbert? There's almost a bit of a touch there between the two of them. Aidan Hills right around the outside, has done it. Brilliant stuff. They're both on the grass as they come out of Old Hall Corner, but that was a really nice bit of racecraft there from Aidan Hills. He could see that the inside line was going to hold up the two cars in front, so he went where they weren't, basically. They were both sort of fighting to get to the apex first, so he went right round the outside, carried much more momentum, and then braved it out through Old Hall Corner. So Aidan Hills, who really could do with these points after that disappointment from race 1, where he ended up in the barriers and finishing down in 5th position, can he now go and get his 3rd victory of the season and his 2nd at the day at what is fast becoming, I think, one of his favourite circuits in the country, Oulton Park. Luke Herbert, though, as we mentioned in race 1, knows this place pretty well as well. He's won lots of races at Oulton Park in the past, and he'll be wanting to try and add to that tally here today. Take more and more curb as the day goes on through the Britain chicane there. Over Hilltop, down towards the right and left at Hislops. Will Stevenson and Steve Roberts are still not a million miles behind these three either, that have been sort of really closely together for the race lead. They've not really been tripping over each other to the extent that we've seen earlier on today, though, yet, and I do use the word yet because I'm pretty sure that that will come, but for the time being they're not holding each other up as much as Will Stevenson and Steve Roberts would like to see. Hills there, you can hear the revs rising as he crests the hill and then drops down the gear through Druids. Looking to try and get the toe, which he's got. Looking to try and maybe get to the inside line at Lodge Corner. Can he do that? No, because Jack Harding sees it coming a mile off and dives to the middle of the road to defend. And now Aidan Hills is the man who's attacking and defending at the same time. Could he maybe be vulnerable to attack from Luke Herbert? Looks like he might be, because Luke is almost pushing him over Dear Leap. How long before these two really start to get to it in the fight for second place? Well, I suppose Aidan Hills has already kind of broken that little pact that they had to work together, because he's got into second place and got ahead of Luke Herbert. Oh, Steve Roberts all over the grass there in 5th position, which will lose him time just as he was starting to gain time on the car in front. Now Luke Herbert here trying to go around the outside of everybody at Cascades. He might just be able to do this, you know. Aidan Hills is back alongside him and will have the inside line for Island Bend, but the momentum is with Luke Herbert on the outside line, and he's got the toe from Jack Harding, which pulls him through into second place again. So there goes my answer about the pact these two may have had to work together. That's twice now they've swapped second position. I don't think there are any games going on now. I think they're just racing for position here. Well, Stevenson is there or thereabouts still in 4th place, but runs a bit wide at Shell. Rankin catches him and stops him going off the road, but he still lost some ground to the cars in front, and perhaps more significantly to Steve Roberts behind him. I don't recall Will Stevenson ever having a top 5 though before. He's certainly not had one yet this year. I'm almost certain he's never had a top 4 finish, but a top 5 may be a first for him as well if he can hang on. Really, really solid weekend this for Will Stevenson. The yellow and green car there just in the back of shot. There he is, defending busily from Steve Roberts. Will's not finished lower than 7th all year though, actually, and that was in the first race today. Apart from that, he's been top 6 every time. Oh, I'll tell a lie, in fact, he had that podium, didn't he, at... no, he didn't have a podium. Will Stevenson he had a disappointing weekend at Snetterton, so he'll be very, very happy indeed to find himself inside the top 5 fight again here at Oulton Park, as it's side by side for the race lead, is it? Yeah, look at Luke Herbert trying to get himself alongside for the lead of the race, and he might just have done it, you know. Gets his nose in front towards Old Hall Corner. It's the outside line again, though. What about the exit speed? Can he cut back? Yes, he might be able to, but we've seen this story before. He ends up on the outside line at Cascade, but the most recent time he tried this on Aidan Hills, it did work. Can he make it work for the race lead, though? Jack Harding will fight this tooth and nail through the corner, and yet gets back to the apex first, so he will hold on to the lead of the race for now. Aidan Hills then in 3rd position, trying to join back in the fun as well. If this is what we see for the rest of the season between these three for the championship, then sign me up. This is going to be a phenomenal championship battle. Any one of these three, you feel, could take the championship at Donington Park at the end of the season, and any one of the three would deserve it from what we've seen so far. Honours pretty much even as far as race victories are concerned. Certainly they will be if Jack Harding wins this one. And it will come down to, rather than coming down to who has maybe the most wins or the most podiums, it'll come down to the drivers that make the least mistakes, that have the least finishes outside of the podium positions. That will probably be the driver that takes the title. And right now, as I've made the point earlier on, Aidan Hills is the only one who's not been on the podium in every race, and indeed he's missed the podium twice now. So whilst he will count them as his drop scores, no doubt, he cannot afford any more non-podium finishes. A 3rd place is better than dropping it off the road and falling down to 4th or 5th. And Aidan, I know, will understand that. He's got a very sensible head on his shoulders. Now in his 3rd season of racing in the MX-5 SuperCup, he is starting to become the full package, just as Luke Herbert is, just as Jack Harding is. It's a miracle in a way that Jack Harding has never won this championship. Came oh so close last year, and it's oh so close for the race lead as they run side by side again out of Druids. Herbert to the outside line. Now watch for Aidan Hills to try and take advantage of this. Through Lodge, yep, Hills sticks it straight up the inside. Luke Herbert had to leave him room, and again the outside line very nearly gave him enough momentum to fend him off, but Hills is coming. He's up the inside line. They're going to be almost a dead heat as they cross the line on this occasion. Aidan Hills even has the presence of mind to take his hand off the wheel and adjust his visor, then brakes later than the double reigning champion and sweeps through into 2nd position. It always amazes me how calm and collected the drivers appear to be when they're in the heat of battle like that. And they're still in the heat of battle, look, because Luke Herbert is fighting back again. Once more, that wide line in, tight line out at Old Hall Corner is a firm favourite of Luke's, but it's just so hard to execute it. If the next corner was another right-hander, it would be the easiest move to make, but it isn't. The next 2 corners are very high-speed left-handers that you do not want to be on the outside of, really, because it's fraught with danger. Steve Roberts, by the way, in 4th place now, has got past Will Stevenson at last. He'll be hoping that these three continue to tussle and allow him to close in and get another podium result, perhaps. Steve Roberts got his first podium of the year in the first race today. Followed up, unfortunately, though, by his second non-finish. So again, they will no doubt become drop scores. And look at the way that the white car is closing in on this lot now. Luke Herbert there a bit sideways as he tried to get the power down whilst the car was still a bit unsettled from riding the curb. That frees up Aidan Hills for the moment. So again, try something around the outside of Jack Harding, maybe. Oh, look at the sideways action there from Luke Herbert. That was brilliant car control as he tries his best now to reel these two back in again. Lost a bit of ground at the first of the chicanes. He's trying to gain it back through the second. Up the hill towards Druids, where the toe once again starts to take effect, and Aidan Hills nearly ran into the back of Jack Harding. Such was his advantage with the slipstream there. Looks to the outside. Got to be careful. Luke Herbert is around here somewhere, but we've managed to get back across to the second apex, so not under too much pressure for the time being. Or is he? Because Luke Herbert is definitely weaving around, and he's on the grass, and he might be up the inside. Is he going to go back through into second place here? I think he might do. No, Aidan Hills leaves him room. There's a bit more blue paint that's traded, and that may have just slowed down the exit speed there for Aidan Hills, enough for Luke Herbert to get back alongside, and Steve Roberts is with them now, so wheel to wheel for second place. This is exactly what Jack Harding wants to see in his mirrors as they go on to the final lap, and there's more contact between the two of them as they go through Old Hall Corner. Aidan Hills is on the grass, Steve Roberts trying to join in as well. They are still side by side though down the avenue, and now Aidan Hills has the inside line for Cascades, and Steve Roberts might be able to pick the pocket of Luke Herbert as well. No, he can't do it. Has that just handed though career win number 16 to Jack Harding, because I think he's pulled enough of a margin over these three now that they're not likely to catch him before the checkered flag. Luke Herbert is trying though. Look, he's bump drafting there with his teammate Aidan Hills down the back straight, not trying to push Aidan off the track, trying to push them both along a little bit more quickly down the straight so as to negate a bit of the advantage that Harding has built up, but I really don't think they're going to be able to get there, are they? In Mazda MX-5 SuperCup terms, that 3 or 4 car length advantage that Harding's built up is enormous, really, and especially with only half a lap to go, I don't think they're going to have an easy time reeling him back in. Steve Roberts in 4th position is doing his best to try and get back on that podium. What's going to happen then with just less than half a lap to go? Herbert again waving at the drivers around him to try and get a bit of synchronised driving together here so that they can work together and close in on the leader, but I really think it's too little too late. Jack Harding, as he comes out of Knickerbrook Corner, is looking good for the victory. Not only will it give him the win record, but championship points-wise, this is good news as well, because he lost a few points to Herbert and Hills in the previous race, and now it looks as though he might take some points back out of them, and with Herbert down in 3rd place and Steve Roberts holding the fastest lap at the moment, that will be a 4-point advantage for Jack Harding, and he will really start to reel in Herbert as far as the championship lead is concerned. Herbert again has his hand out of the cockpit as he attacks for 2nd place through Lodge Corner. It will not be the victory though, it's going to be a headbutt into the tail of Aidan Hills' car, but win number 16 and the all-time win record in the MX-5 Super Cup goes to Jack Harding, and it is 2 wins apiece for the big 3 after the first 6 races of the season. Aidan Hills is 2nd, Luke Herbert 3rd, and Steve Roberts in 4th position. A real fighting drive that from towards the back of the grid. A brilliant victory from Harding then. Hills in 2nd place. Herbert will still be the championship leader, but by a reduced margin. Roberts is 4th, and Will Stevenson gets a 5th place finish. Then Gary Townsend, Patrick Fletcher, Jack Sycamore, Will Stacey, and David Henderson. No non-finishers that time either. They all got to the flag, and what a sensational day of racing we've had here at Oulton Park. Well, Jack, congratulations, another race victory. You've completed the set of podiums as well here, a 1st, a 2nd and a 3rd today. It's been an eventful one, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. After the last race, I was a bit frustrated. I thought we had the pace to win, really. Was in 2nd and sadly got taken out, but managed to salvage a podium. Started 5th in this race, got off the line quite well. Me and Luke side by side coming out of turn 1. And then I just manned it around the outside of a few cars into the next bend and managed to get myself, I think, into 2nd, and then managed to get 1st in the next corner. Once I got into 1st, I thought, right, I'm in the best position now because it's really hard to overtake around here. Defending Luke for quite a while, and then he just got a good run on me. I messed up, I went a little bit deep into a corner, got a good run on me, and passed me. And then once Luke got into the lead, I was like, right, okay, this is going to be difficult. But yeah, managed to get him back after he messed up the chicane a little bit, and then just kept bunching them up really. Every time I saw one of them come to attack me, Aidan or Luke, I just bunched them up so they could start fighting, and yeah, worked out in the end.
It was a spectacular race, and I think that race really sums up what we're going to see for the rest of the year, doesn't it? Because there is nothing to choose between any of you top sort of 3 or 4 guys. The championship's going down to the wire. I think I can predict that already.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think Luke won the first race, was it at Snetterton, and then Aidan, and then me, and then it's the same this time. So we've all just keep taking a win apiece. So it's going to be close. We've lost a few points on Luke this round, but yeah, no, it's going to be really close. But massive thanks to AK, they've transformed the car from the first race. Massive thanks to Yorkshire Trade Windows and Townsend Vehicle Hire as well for helping me on the grid.
Nicely done, well done.
Thank you very much.
Aidan, about 2 laps into that, I thought you were out of it. You were down in 7th place. Those two had gone into 1st and 2nd, and you just carved your way through.
Well, yeah, the first corner, I don't think I've ever had a first corner so bad in my life. I went through the corner, the back end come out, I was on the grass, I was then on the grass on the inside. Luckily, everyone missed me, but I look in the mirror and no one was there. So that was a bit annoying. I thought I'd blown the race, you know. I just thought, how can you be so unlucky in one weekend? But then, yeah, I just thought, just get your head back together and go for it. And I had nothing to lose. I just pushed, and made some good moves. And next thing I know, I'm 3rd, and then I'm 2nd, and I'm battling for the lead, and I'm back to 3rd. And honestly, that's probably one of the best races I think I've ever had in the MX-5s. And I come 2nd, so it was brilliant, yeah.
It was great to watch, and it strikes me how intense the battling is already between you three. As we get through the season, that's only going to get more and more intense as every point starts to matter more.
Yeah, I think us three have shared the podium enough already this season, and we did a lot last year as well. So it's very much us three, and then obviously Steve's been unlucky this weekend as well. But yeah, if you think back to last season, it was them two more than me, and I'm trying to just get myself in there. And I realised last year that you can't afford to lose too many points early on, because that meant that when you get to Donington for the last round, you're too far back. So you have to take every point as you can, no matter when it is, first race, last race, 12th race, whatever you do, you just have to keep taking as much points out of them two as you can.
I take it you've got the car pointing in the right direction now as well, because I know after that off in race 1, which we're trying to forget about, but yeah, you did ding it a bit, didn't you? Was it okay for that one?
Yeah, it was much better, to be honest. We made a little change. Dad's obviously wicked with the car. He knows exactly what he's doing, so the car felt bang on from the word go, really. It took a couple of laps to get the tyres going. That's obviously why I was a little bit further back as well. But when the tyres come on, the car was absolutely on rails. I think it was just absolutely perfect. So I'm really looking forward to Anglesey now.
Yeah, so great entertainment. Well done.
Thanks.
Luke, congratulations. A 1st, a 2nd and a 3rd for the day, which means you've gained, I think, 2 points on Jack all day.
Yeah, Jack had exactly the same results. I had a quickest lap in the 2nd race, so yeah, 2 points up from the weekend. But you know, 2 points is crucial. So come out the weekend with the most points. Yeah, I'd have liked to have got a 2nd or a 1st in that last race, but me, Jack and Aidan put in a good performance. I got in the lead for one lap and one corner, and then missed a gear. So yeah, I sort of cost myself the win, but you know. We all make slight mistakes. It's just those slight mistakes sometimes cost us a lot. But you know, we've had a good weekend. No damage on the car. Thanks to all the team. We've been a man down. Dad's down for the first time ever in my race career. But yeah, no, thanks for the sponsors. Yeah, looking forward to Anglesey. Let's bring it on.
Well, so are we, and if the racing is anything like what we've seen today, I think we're in for some great entertainment. That was one of the best races we've seen for a while, and it seemed pretty respectful out there as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're all giving each other room. We always try and be respectful and give each other room, but sometimes, a slight misjudgment and it doesn't go that way. But yeah, I think we touched wing mirrors a couple of times. But yeah, we're always having to knock our wing mirrors back out, but that's the sort of racing it is. So yeah, Anglesey, haven't been there in a couple of years, but from what I remember, I was quite good there. So bring it on. Hopefully it's dry, because it's horrible if it's wet.
We'll wait and see about that. Well done, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.